And I'm trying to put it on. Finally, I swung it over after 5 minutes into it, and I finally put the seatbelt on. Then they said, Wade, you never moved again. But the whole time that I was sitting there, I was hearing this voice, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing in this state. I was like, wow, this voice is so urgent. Why is it keep talking to me in my language? Then I felt it. They said, Wade, after you put the seatbelt on, you never moved again. And I was in my state of passing out. And 15 minutes later, the truck flipped. Toe to toe, it flipped, the truck. I got knocked out on the first rollover. It hit. I was on my side. I hit the windshield and I got knocked out on the rollover. I came to. They said about 15, 20 minutes later, I was hung upside down on this seat belt. And I'm thinking, remember we used to watch movies, all of us probably, when we smell gas in the vehicle, our automatic reaction would be get out of there. So when I was hung upside down, I could feel the pressure on my face because of the blood over the 20 minutes that I was knocked out. The blood rushed to my head, and I actually tried to grab the seatbelt. Finally, I got it, and I hit the roof of the truck. And I had glass stuck on my head, and I rushed out of the vehicle because I kept smelling gas. At the same time as I was going out of the vehicle, I felt somebody's leg when I was coming out of the truck. It was like a bad dream, and I'm thinking, I want to wake up, I want to wake up, I want to wake up. It was my best friend, the only friend I had. This happened in 1999. The only friend I had. I touched her leg on the way out. Then I was in shock when I came out of the vehicle, and I didn't know who it was. And I'd been with my friend for a few days. There were 4 of us in the truck. And I kept asking the 2 people that were with me, who is this person? Because I was in shock. They started crying even more because they know that I know who she is, but Wade kind of lost it because I was in shock. But I couldn't believe because I wanted to wake up. This must be a bad dream. We all went through something like this. Like you don't want it to be real, but it was. And I'm looking at it, and I finally came to about 6 minutes after that when I felt the leg, and I said, oh, that's my best friend. I realized, and I grabbed the other 2. They were crying to no end. And I'm thinking, my life is getting worse. My life is getting worse. And that was in 1999. And I lost my only friend. Nobody wanted to be around me because of the lifestyle I had. Nobody. And finally, I left. And I said, I'm going to try to stop drinking. And I only lasted 4 weeks. And I went back at it again. I couldn't deal with it. And I went into another accident in January 16th of 2000 now. This time I was taking cocaine again, and I was drinking the same way, and I got into another vehicle accident. This time I lost everything. And I lost everything. And just since my life in living in a community of Pine House Lake, as a 14-year-old, I'm thinking about these people that just walked in here. They're about 14, 15, 16. So when I was in my community, I used to walk around my community. I went to AA centers. I went to everywhere to look for God. But I never found nothing to satisfy me. But at grade 10, when I left Pine House, I said there was no God. And I said, I looked for God all my life and I couldn't find him. And then that was through my high school days. And in grade 11, I graduated. Grade 12, I graduated. Then I went on to doing work at the school system and all. And it all transpired to this very time that I had these accidents. And people said it was the accidents that made you change, Wade. And I said, well, that was the first accident. I couldn't change. I tried to stop doing drugs and alcohol. It seemed it got worse. And in 2000, January 17th, that was the other one. I lost my license. I lost everything. Now, in 2000, my community, we were in a Fifth Estate, actually. The movie Fifth Estate, I don't know if you guys remember. Anybody remember Fifth Estate? Anyways, if you look into it, if you go into the history in the early 90s, it was Fifth Estate. There was most alcohol abuse in northern Saskatchewan. That was my community. So this is what was happening within our community. But in 2000, we started experiencing things in our community. Things started to change. There was people that were praying. There was tent meetings coming in 2000, and in 99, I used to see people's life change, and we were looking at them going into meetings, and I said, no, that's not for us. That's not for us, and that's not for us. Then I realized, okay, when I lost my license in January 17th, then I tried to fight it in court, and finally I lost in April. I had to hand in my license. I lost 3 of my jobs. I lost everything that I could trust in. Then I didn't care. When I got into that accident in January 17th, they gave me 6 months conditional and another 21 months probation because of the vehicle that I hit, and I almost hurt those people. And I was in remand and all these things for a short period of time, and I said, I don't know what to do with my life. But I didn't care still. It didn't change my life. All those things that happened to me, it didn't change. But look, in April, I handed in my license, the last day of the year, because that's my birthday. And then the next month, a revival broke out in our community. There was a tent meeting happening. Now, this is where the story really gets really interesting. I used to mock Christianity, and I used to mock things about the things of God. Even people's lives are changing from a distance. I started seeing the drug addicts come in. Their lives were changing. They were giving their hearts to Jesus. Their hearts were softening. The guys that used to lie, cheat, everything, they became honest. They were helping other people. All of a sudden, the guys that were selling drugs in our community started being leaders in our community. The guys that used to go and steal, they were actually being put in positions of leadership. I couldn't believe what was happening within our community. Then there was like meetings happening after meeting, tent meetings, like 3-4 weeks. They pulled the tent meeting down, but they made a tarp house like this, in this building here. This is about the size it was. And they had a band that was a crazy band that just drug and alcohol. They called them Who's Playing. They made up their name, and they're really well known. But one by one, they got saved. And I'm thinking, what's going on with these guys? One of them started their lives to change. And all of a sudden, those were the guys in May. All of them, their lives changed. We saw them in the parties.